quote, resting players and they're basically throwing the game, then I think the NBA should work out a contract with the TV networks that this team did this, so they're going to get less primetime games. So the Cleveland Cavaliers, they rested their players too many times, so we're going to punish them. They're only going to get 2 primetime games on TNT, 2 on ESPN instead of 5 each, and they're not going to get the revenue from the TV deal. I think that's the only way that you're going to be able to hurt the teams.
You have to put some limitation on it, or some kind of idea of punishment. Oh, the only problem I have with that is if you punish the team. I mean, actually, it's not a bad strategy because that puts the pressure on the owner to put the pressure on the players to play because the owners aren't going to be getting that money from TV time.
Right.
And the owners want that money on the TV time, and then that forces them to have to address their golden goose.
Especially when TV networks have back-to-back weeks where they're heavily promoting, see this star play against this star, and then neither of them play 2 weeks in a row.
Right.
Or those
2 weeks in a row.
awful commercials that ESPN's been pumping.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is, but that bothers me.
Switching from pressuring all of the owners to pressuring just one owner, what do we do about James Dolan? What do we do about him and his feud with Oakley? I'm gonna start this segment because I'm just gonna lay it on the line. Nothing. There's nothing that can be done. There's absolutely nothing. In a perfect world, Adam Silver can walk in and say, "Listen, Dolan, you are not running this organization up to the NBA standards. You must find a buyer."
I wish.
But that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's a very utopian idea.
It's not going to happen.
Oh, that is the dream, and that's actually what I had for that question was they should have taken it a step further and done the world a favor and removed Dolan from ownership like they did with.
Problem is he owns MSG.
Right, and he's got a monopoly, which is why I think they had to do something because he's a king in his castle at MSG, and no one else could really admonish him because regardless of what we actually saw, you know Dolan was absolutely involved. It wasn't just Oakley going off of the rails.
Oh, no. I solely believe from even when I was watching it on the clips, as calm as he is sitting there, Dolan was the one that started this. He made this a bigger issue than it had to be. I mean, I don't know what Oakley said. I don't know how he was acting. There's really no way for us to know unless, of course, he wants to dig out security footage somewhere.
Right, but you've seen how Dolan reacts to people. I don't know if you've seen the way he reacts to fans.
Oh, it's
horrible.
It's easier for him.
He's an asshole. And I'm sorry for foul language on this, but that's what he is, and that's what he deserves to be called out on. And
couldn't agree more.
I cannot stand him as a person.
He, unfortunately, like I said, there's nothing that can be done. The NBA can't step in because there's no real conflict of interest like there was with the Clippers owner, whose name is escaping me as well.
Sterling?
Yeah, Donald Sterling,
yes. That's what it was.
Yeah, so there's nothing that he's done. Now, if if there's video leaked of him... I
mean, you could say the way he's been running the franchise is detrimental to New York City, and the
but
city could just take the team over.
They're the most valuable franchise in the NBA.
The more
it's hurtful for the fans.
The more you pester this man, the bigger problems it creates for the NBA, because they're not going to... He's got them handcuffed by owning Madison Square Garden. I mean... He has them exactly where he wants them, and he knows that he can do things like this. But what Bad News, should we really be expecting anything different from him at this point? The way he's addressed fans and told them to go be a fan of the Nets, we don't want you. Mm-hmm. Like, are we surprised by any of the antics this guy does? I quite frankly, I think he's a very capitalist mentality here because he's thinking about the money. The fan base is a secondary thing because the fan base. I mean, they were chanting Oakley's name.
Right.
Still are.
Yeah. And
they're selling free Oakley t-shirts.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to accept that anything he does is a bad look for the Knicks.
Well,
have you heard him play his jazz? It's horrible. I think the league should remove him just for that.
That would be torture.
How can the league do anything? Say, you're a horrible owner when the Rangers are so good. I mean, they're not winning championships all the time.
Well, he's very hands-off because he doesn't really care about the Rangers.
He's way more hands-on with the Rangers than he is with the Knicks.
No, I would completely disagree. Maybe this past year or two with Phil Jackson because he signed contracts saying that he would be.
That's another topic that.
And maybe he knows hockey better.
Yeah.
I doubt he knows much of anything.
Yeah.
So let's get out of the NBA because I think we've exhausted.
Well, the more we
every
talk
avenue.
about this, the more likely we are to get a letter from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bring it, Dolan.
Bring it. Free Oakley.
I'll fight you, bro.
Can we say right now that DanDanTony is pro Oakley?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
DanDanTony Sports
I'm not
is
even pro Oakley. I'm just anti-Dolan.
Oh,
So
I know.
anything anti-Dolan.
I stand behind Oakley.
pro
no matter
free
what.
Oakley. All right, that's our first united front.
Yeah.
Now we're going to move into Major League Baseball. There are a couple of rule changes that are kind of odd that they've proposed. The first one that I think we should talk about is if you haven't won by the 11th inning, then you're going to start with a runner on second base. What do you think about that, Dan?
Well, I know you're going to hate my answer for this, but as a non-baseball follower, I know about it. I keep occasional track of it, but I don't really watch unless it's playoffs. And, I find watching on TV to be quite boring at times.
It's just as boring in the
when
stands.
At least there you can, yell at them.
You can fall asleep on your couch.
That's true. I would love that because it turns a potential 11-hour game back down to something reasonable where something's sure to happen, or maybe not sure, but much more likely to happen if there's a player on base to begin. And it puts more pressure on the pitcher, and I think it would make for a more exciting game. I would equate it to how the NHL has done 3-on-3 overtime instead of 5-on-5. I think that's been a positive. I think that's made it more exciting. I think leagues should look at making their games more exciting to attract more fans, because I would probably watch more baseball if that was a thing. And I know you're probably more of a purist, and I understand, that from a purist standpoint, it's not the game of baseball to have a player on base without earning it, and, it's not a pitcher battle necessarily if that's the way it is, but I just think it would be more exciting. If
you have my argument, I'm going to go back to what I said a while ago. If you haven't won in 11 innings, you don't deserve to win. Baseball should embrace the tie. There are 162 games. Embrace the tie. Embrace it. If you haven't won after 11 innings, you don't deserve to win.
You don't need to play that many games.
Exactly. You don't deserve to win if you can't win in 11 innings.
I don't understand why a tie's never been discussed. They actually ended an all-star game in a tie. So how is it not discussed out of 162 games? I just don't understand how that hasn't come to
This is boring. The whole game is
baseball wants to preserve its integrity, and I get that. I don't necessarily agree with adding a runner, because that to me is almost the idea of a participation trophy. You're getting something for not achieving anything. That's just my personal opinion. Like, oh, we're just going to give you the runner. You put in a cheat code. Congratulations. But I do think that they need to address the fact that the game needs to speed up in some way, shape, or form. I have my own personal thoughts on how we should do that, but they're not completely ironed out yet, so I'm going to hold on to some of those.
How about this? After 9 innings, if no one's won, home run derby.
Oh my God.
Home run derby.
Yeah. Actually, if you want to do that, what I would say is have it almost like a shootout. Give your 5 best bats. They each get 3 balls thrown at them to hit a home run.
Or do it like
or just hit whatever they can in an amount of bases.
See what you can rack in with those 5 batters or 4 batters.
Yeah.
Take your first 4. How many can you drive in?
Yeah, how many points can you put on the board?
After 11 innings, how about you do this? Flip a coin. If that's good enough for some...
It's going to be about as exciting as it currently is.
If that's good enough... Well, there's more suspense. Because it's one of 2 outcomes. You either win or you lose immediately.
And you can get all that suspense out of the way in 30 seconds instead of an additional 4 hours.
Yeah, if it works for high school football in some areas, it'll work for Major League Baseball.
I'm sure the fans would love it.
I mean, yeah, the ones who are there at midnight.
Yeah, who have to work the next morning.
Yeah. The other proposal that they had is getting rid of the intentional walk. Well, not getting rid of it, but getting rid of the act of doing it. Instead of pitching the 4 pitches, there will now be a signal that the pitcher gives to say, we're walking this guy, let him take the base. What do you think about that?
I kind of want to hear if you guys have any negatives on this. I mean, I know mistakes are made, but when they've done that, but I mean, with the quality of pitching and catching you have these days, I don't think very many mistakes are made when they're intentionally walking. It's just takes an extra few seconds instead of a simple signal. So I'd be interested to hear
because last year there was a player, I believe for the Yankees, I believe it was Gary Sanchez. I'm not positive on the player. Almost hit a home run off of an intentional walk. Almost hit a home run. That's why. And second, why does it even matter? It's 4 pitches. First of all, if you're saying it's an arm strength issue, if a Major League Baseball pitcher can't pitch 4 pitches, they shouldn't be a Major League Baseball pitcher.
Don't even call it a pitch. You're playing catch.
Yeah, you're lobbing it. Second, how much time is it going to save? It doesn't happen in every game. It happens like 1 every 5 games. It'll save maybe a minute every 5 games. And that's not even every team's 5 games. It's like every 5 games in Major League Baseball.
I believe pitching, given how talented they are nowadays, needs to be more accurate. I think they should eliminate a ball. Give them 3 and 3. Speed this up.
Speed it up. The other idea for speeding
up. Puts more runners on, creates the score more. Won't have to worry about this tie.
Maybe that's what they do to test out. They could test that out in the extra innings. Just eliminate a ball,
or you can do like high school softball in gym class. And, you get 1 pitch. If you hit it, good. If not, you're out. No, I'm just kidding. That would be terrible.
Try the hockey mentality. Remove players from the field.
Yeah.
You only get 1 outfielder.
Coming out. Outfielders. You get 1.
But talking about time saving, I think that if that is the argument that they wanted to make, there are other things you can do if you're going to go with that little bit. Like hit a home run. Why run the bases? Just send them right to the dugout. There's no reason to have them run the bases, just shove.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the celebration thing that we were talking about before. They kind of deserve that to do a little run around and wave their arm.
Limit the number of times the manager can come to the mound. That'll save time.
Yeah, me too.
You get 3 per game. 3 per game.
I'm absolutely all for that. That leads to more strategy. You really have to discuss any kind of eventuality with your players because you can only come out those 3 times. You can't. And as you said, it would reduce time. It would reduce.
I think you could do that, but you still have to be able to still have a number specifically for the catcher because the catcher might notice something off with the pitcher and want to talk to him in private and be like, "Listen, you're really messing up that ball and it's breaking way too far. I don't know whatever you're doing, but take it off of it." Because if you're not going to want the manager to go out there every once in a while, it shouldn't take the catcher who's standing 90 feet away.
Yeah, 60, whatever it is.
To be able to run up, make that quick adjustment, and then run back.
I mean, you don't see players in the NFL doing that. You know what, Tom Brady, you're throwing like crap right now. We're going to take this time, aside from the time clock, to talk about what you're doing wrong. No, that's bogus. If the pitcher's not,
they get the 3 timeouts. And
they get 3 timeouts. Even make it 4, and you can split it evenly among. Split it however you want between the catcher and the manager.
Give them 4 for the entire game.
Yeah, and if they go over the 4, because if you take a timeout when you don't have a timeout, there's a walk. Player gets on base.
Yeah, there you go.
Penalize it like that.
At least you're getting penalized for it rather than giving it to them as this is running late gift.
Yeah, right. Yeah, That's crazy. Starting a man on second base. All right, so let's get out of baseball now and let's talk NHL. Dan, this is more of your area of expertise. So I don't see too much wrong with the way NHL is doing things, but you do. So what issues do you see with the NHL that should be fixed, and how do you fix them?
Okay, there's not as many issues, I think, as we were able to discuss with the NFL. One of the biggest ones, though, again, comes down to safety. The Department of Player Safety in the NHL is completely inconsistent. It was highlighted recently with the play of Brad Marchand. He's on the Boston Celtics, and he is a dirty player.
Yeah, not the Celtics.
Sorry.
Same building, different floor.
The Bruins, obviously, a little mental blank there. He's a dirty player. It's
Is-
factual.